Thanks for joining us here in Fresno today. Glad we're inside and not outside. I want to thank you for believing this is an important bit of news when so much is going on in the world. I am pleased to be joined by the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District here in Fresno, McGregor Scott, and I'm really going to turn it over to him to say some words because we're here for a special reason, the work that's been done in a way that should make all of us not only proud, but quite honestly a lot safer than we could otherwise be. I want to acknowledge while I'm speaking the acting chief of the Division of Law Enforcement for the California Department of Justice, John Marsh, who's with us, and someone who will actually give some remarks in just a moment is someone who understands the work that's done by the Special Operations Unit here at the California Department of Justice, Louis Lopez, who helps supervise the men and women who do some of the work that is going to be acknowledged by the U.S. Attorney. Also, Kim Sanchez, who is here, I want to give a shout out to as U.S. Attorney Scott will introduce her just for the work that she has done. You're going to hear some interesting information, but a story that is worth telling that I think both Kim and Louis can give you some good color on. I want to acknowledge that U.S. Attorney Scott has been nothing but a tremendous partner for the state of California in the work that he's done in the Eastern District that he covers, and the Eastern District is a pretty big portion of, at least for Northern and Central California. Without the partnership with the U.S. Attorney's Office, it would be a lot harder to go after some of the bad guys that are out there. And he brings with him a full team at the federal level, DEA, FBI, you name it. They come together and they, through the U.S. Attorney's Office, oftentimes we're able to collaborate far better with our folks. And of course, it goes without saying, the local law enforcement agencies that are here, Fresno County, we are fortunate to have a great partnership. And the result of that partnership is real fruit for the people of California and certainly in the Central Valley. There was a case that we all worked on together jointly where we were able to give a community, a very small community that most people don't even know where it's located unless you're from the Central Valley in Mendota, wouldn't know much about it. But I guarantee you the families of Mendota know about this story. And so I'm not going to say any more because I think it's important to let McGregor Scott, the U.S. Attorney, give you a little bit of the color here. And I want to thank you for making it all the way to Fresno to make a special presentation to some of the folks at the California Department of Justice's Division of Law Enforcement Special Operations Unit. So with no further ado, let me turn over the podium to U.S. Attorney McGregor Scott.
Thanks very much. I appreciate that. I thought it was hot in Sacramento, but it's hot in Fresno. You all will recall that at the end of August last year, there was a major takedown of the MS-13 gang in Mendota in the western part of Fresno County. That gang, over the course of a couple years, had committed several homicides, dumped bodies, committed other acts of violence, and had essentially terrorized that community and that part of Fresno County. Shortly after becoming U.S. Attorney in December, at the end of, the end of December, at the end of 2017, got a briefing on this investigation and made very clear that this was our #1 priority because this was a violent, brutal, horrific set of people who were terrorizing people who just wanted to live their lives, go to work every day, raise their families in Mendota and western Fresno County. We put together a task force to go after this problem, and that task force had really 3 essential components to it. We had local law enforcement in the form of the Fresno County Sheriff's Department, MAGIC, the Mendota Police Department, other local agencies here in Fresno County. On the other end of it, for prosecution, we had the Fresno County District Attorney's Office and the United States Attorney's Office. We also had a number of federal law enforcement agencies, the FBI, the DEA, the ATF, HSI, all involved in this operation. The centerpiece of that, though, local cops on the ground, prosecutors in the courtroom, the centerpiece of this operation was the Special Operations Unit Central California team of the California State Department of Justice. They, in essence, served as what we call the wire team for this investigation. We got wiretap authorization from judges. We got up on phones of these MS-13 members, and because of the great work that was done by the AG's team, we were able to build a very strong case against dozens of members of MS-13. And one of the most compelling pieces about it was that because of the wiretap work that was done, the information that was gathered, we were able to link evidence to crimes, murders that MS-13 had committed in Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Houston, New York, and the Maryland, Northern Virginia region because of the work that was done by this team right here in Fresno, California. And there are MS-13 members now facing charges that will put them in prison for the rest of their lives across this nation because of the work that was done collaboratively between local, state, and federal law enforcement. And it isn't just some theory. I think the real punchline out of this is because of the great work that was done collaboratively, we've given Mendota its life back. People can now walk the streets again. People can now go to the parks again. People can now send their children to go to school without fear from this MS-13 organization. And so we are here today to present to that team, the Special Operations Unit Central California team, what we call the United States Attorney's Award. And we hand out a very small number of these each year, annually. And the sort of the mission statement of the award is we seek to recognize a local or state law enforcement agency which helps us to do our job. And since the beginning of the Trump administration, the #1 priority given to the United States attorneys across the nation has been to reduce violent crime and specifically to get after MS-13. And I can think of no better example of getting after violent crime and getting after MS-13 than this investigation right here. And as I told the assembled folks when we met with them just a few minutes ago, simply put, we could not have done this without the state AG's team helping us with those wires and gathering the evidence and listening and watching on texting these guys plan and execute their horrific crimes. So we are very proud to recognize our partners in very, very crucial and necessary work to help people live better and safer lives in their communities. And we have done this many times in the past. We have done it since the MS-13 takedown, and we will continue to do it in the months and years going forward because we share the goal and the mission of doing everything we can to help the people of this state in their own communities live peacefully. That's our objective. And I do want to recognize Kim Sanchez from my office, an assistant United States attorney. She has led the charge on the prosecution side of the MS-13 case, as well as several other very large gang-related investigations and prosecutions. The case ultimately concluded with approximately 24 MS-13 members and associates being charged in federal court here in Fresno, and an approximately same number being charged by the Fresno County District Attorney's Office here in the Fresno County Superior Court. We shut them down, and we're very proud of that. And as I said earlier, we also provided real evidence to a vast section of this country where MS-13 have been undertaking its reign of terror in murders, robberies, and brutal crimes. And so we're very proud of the work that we've done right here in Fresno, and we chose today to try to recognize that teamwork and the collaboration and the work that we've done. So I want to thank everybody for being here, and I especially want to thank the State Attorney General's office for all the great things. And so I'll go ahead and present this now. This is our plaque, and I'll read it to you. Outstanding Law Enforcement Agency, Fresno Division, California Department of Justice, Special Operations Unit, Central California Team. In recognition of the outstanding professionalism and dedicated service you provide to the people of California, and your commitment to law enforcement partnerships in bringing to justice those most violent and dangerous in our communities, resulting in safer neighborhoods for all to enjoy in the Eastern District of California. Thank you very much for what you've done. Thank you.
If you'll let me ask Assistant Director Louis Lopez to say a few words on behalf of the team. Obviously, many members of the team could be standing here, but it's a special operations unit. They don't put their face in front of cameras. And so I'm going to ask Louis to give us a little bit more color to what you heard U.S. Attorney Scott mention, and tell you a little bit about the work that this team did. And I think then Mr. Scott will ask Ms. Sanchez to say some words as well.
Good afternoon. My name is Louis Lopez. I'm the Assistant Director with the California Department of Justice Bureau of Investigation, and I oversee our statewide Special Operations Unit program. And so just a little bit about the program itself. It's a collaborative team effort made up of DOJ agents and California Highway Patrol officers, and what the program is designed to do is to partner with our law enforcement partners from the local level, state level, as well as the federal level. And specifically here in the Fresno region, because of the work that the Fresno Special Operations Unit team has done over the years, we've developed a very, very strong working relationship with our law enforcement partners. And that includes the U.S. Attorney's Office. And so we had the unique ability to partner with them and collaborate on this investigation and really go after the MS-13 gang that was creating havoc here in the region. This award here, I accepted it, but this award is for the investigators. Like the Attorney General had said, these investigators, they work day in and day out. They operate in the shadows. You'll never know when they're there. You'll never see them, and that's the way it's designed to be done. Because in order to go after these gang members that are creating all of the havoc here in the area, that's the way we have to operate. And so with that, I think, Kim, if you want to come up and talk a little bit more about the federal prosecution side and the collaborative working relationship that we've developed and how we proceeded through the case.
Thank you, Louis. So this partnership began many years ago. Probably in 2008 or 2009, we started working on collaborative efforts or operations where we started to partner more vastly with state, local, and federal agencies targeting gang problems throughout the Central Valley. And so these problems were identified by local law enforcement, and because we were partners, we knew about them and came up with a plan of attack. Literally hundreds of individuals who were gang members or associates of gangs have been prosecuted through these partnerships, both at the federal and the state level, for a variety of gangs, culminating most recently with MS-13 and another operation with Nuestra Familia members. And what's special about this team and why the citizens of these communities should feel safer because of its existence is the chemistry between the partners in the team. They have each other's backs. They don't come to work with an ego. Anyone at any time will do anything that needs to be done to make sure that the case moves in the direction that it should be moving. They work tirelessly, and the partners from the prosecutor's offices to local law enforcement and the agents spend hours and hours and hours and hours working together, not only on legal matters, not only on the investigation, but making sure these cases are ready to go to trial. We partnership to make sure that search warrants are legally sustainable. We partner to make sure that the evidence we present to a jury is understandable and admissible, and that we ultimately attain convictions. And this team literally is responsible for hundreds of gang members who have committed drug trafficking crimes, crimes of violence, being convicted and behind bars.